do is distribute books, or maybe is it the only thing we're supposed to do is go on Harinam or distribute Prasadam, and everything else we're just wasting our time. No, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu suggested that whoever we meet, and that we might even meet our wife or our husband. We don't think, oh, this is just my wife or husband. Oh, those are the kids. No, we should remember that they're also Krishna's servants. Even Devaki is Krishna's servant, believe it or not. Of course, she's not doing very much service right now. I guess, is the milk offered?
I mean, the one I do, yeah.
Yeah. So, at least she's taking prasadam.
She has her joy cookie to the altar at home.
Oh, okay. To the cookie god. So, whoever we meet, whether it's our children, or our wife, or husband, or our friends, then we should at least think, is there anything I can do to help them become Krishna conscious? That's called becoming more serious. Not that I have my sadhana, as Prabhupada said, he was chanting on his rounds, and Kirti was there, and he got done with 16 rounds, and then he pulled up his counter beads, and he threw his beads on the table. He said, now I'm finished with my 16 rounds, and I can do any damn thing I want. No, if we actually have that vision, take it seriously, that Krishna actually is in everyone's heart, and Krishna actually has a mission, and that mission is to help people become Krishna conscious, then that's the best way of helping ourselves become Krishna conscious. It's not that we're going to chant perfect round and go back to Godhead. Or we'll hear the perfect class, and then we'll go back to the spiritual world. No, we actually have to engage in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission if we want to go back to Godhead. There are some devotees think, well, they're so austere going out and this, doing the mission. It's for less advanced people. But we've been in the movement for at least 10 years. We've become highly advanced, and we're going to go to Radha Kund, and there we're going to enter into the pastimes of Radha and Krishna just by listening to them. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came. He was a nice man. He was Krishna conscious. And that's what he did. He just sat in the Gambhira and listened to Radha Krishna's pastime, Ramananda Roy, and Swarup Damodar. They were telling him all the time. And Nityananda, he was not so advanced. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him out door to door. And Haridas Thakur, who also was kind of a neophyte like devotee. And therefore, all they could do was chant and preach. They couldn't really stay in one place. They were too restless. But we're much more advanced than Lord Nityananda and Haridas Thakur and all their Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates. We're just going to sit in Radha Kund and relish the pastimes of Radha and Krishna and become purified and go back to Godhead. And the hell with everyone else. So we may take that path, but from what I heard of Radha Kund, I doubt whether anyone there is actually going back to Godhead. In the sense that, without taking out the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this age, no one could really understand what the purpose of service to Krishna means in this age. Krishna himself comes and preaches. He takes his eternal associates with him. They all come and preach. And we, the conditioned souls, are going to sit around and listen to Radha Krishna pastimes and drink tea and have pizza and go back to Godhead. And all these other, souls out there, unless they come and surrender, unless Krishna in their heart says, go to the Hare Krishna movement and sit around and listen to Radha Krishna's pastimes and eat pizza, go back to Godhead. No, obviously, God himself is coming. Radha and Krishna are coming. The person they're supposedly meditating on the two people, Radha and Krishna, they're coming and preaching. And we're not supposed to preach. We're supposed to sit around and just think about the two people that are out preaching. No, if we want to, we have to take it seriously. I mean, going out and distributing books is very important, but it's not everything either. We also have to become more serious. So that even when we associate with devotees, or those who are aspiring to become devotees, we're also dealing with them as if they were devotees, if they're actually servants of Krishna, not something else. We're not going to be able to realize the spiritual quality of the persons we're dealing with, anyone, either devotees or Krishna, or the innocent people, or the animals, or the insects, or anything in this world. This world remains material if we deal with it as if it was material, and especially if we deal with the devotees, whether it's whoever they may be, as if they were just ordinary persons who were engaged in material, that they were actually kind of spiritual, but actually they're material. And my service to them is to try to figure out how I can engage them in my service so they can become purified. Because that's the mentality of material existence, is everyone's looking at each other trying to figure out what they can get from them. They may put on a show, I'm your servant, because that's the best way of getting things from people. Claim that you're the servant, and they say, oh, so nice. I always wanted a servant. You are my supreme God. I love you. I'm surrendered to you. And you go, yes, it's so nice. And now I only have one thing. I need your benedictions. Give me your benedictions. Do this for me, do that for me, do this other thing for me, because I'm your surrendered servant. So everyone's claiming, somehow or another, mostly we're trying to put on a show for at least our friends or our family, as if we're their servant, but we're actually trying to figure out how we can get something from them, even though it's Christmas, whatever that means. Holiday shopping. And most people are going to calculate. Last year I gave this person this present, was worth so much. They gave me this present, so much of the present was worth that much. And now, since I'm short, $55 in my present, I'm going to short them $55 this year so I can make it back. Profit and loss calculations in our relationships. Even if it's not money, it's, they said something nice about me, and therefore I'm going to say something nice about them. Just so I don't feel like I'm obligated to them. Or I'm going to say something nice about them, so they'll say something nice about me. I'll say, oh, you're so wonderful, you're so effulgent, you're the nicest person I ever met, you're the most wonderful devotee, and go tell my friends how nice I am too. I'll make you feel good, and then you make me feel good. Nothing to do with making Krishna feel good. Krishna, sorry. We make Krishna feel good so that he can make us feel good. Which is alright, in one sense. If we make Krishna feel good, then we'll actually feel good. But the idea is, just like if so-called romance or relationship, if you told your romantic partner, my dear romantic partner, actually I don't really love you, I love myself. But somehow or another I got to get you to love me so I can get some service from you. And it seems the only way I can do that is to trick you into thinking I love you. I love you, I love to eat you and devour you. Get whatever I can out of you. Chew you up, and then when I can, I spit you out. In a nice place, though, if I can. So that's materialistic consciousness, and that's the way the material world actually works. Although we wouldn't like to think about that, it would be rather unpleasant to think that actually this person doesn't love me. They're trying to get something from me, either praise, adoration. They want me to always think of them They want me to become their devotee. They want me to worship them. They want me to offer my homage unto them. Bow down, mister. That's what they want, but they don't say that. They say, I want to become your servant. I want to serve you. It's like you go to a job, you tell the employer, I just want to serve you, your employer. If you really want to serve your boss. No, we're serving the money that the boss is giving us. As the money stops, the service stops. And the money we're using to serve our senses, or other people's senses, because they serve our senses. So ultimately, why are we serving our senses? Because they make us feel good, supposedly. So actually, we're just serving ourselves. But if we actually realize that we're only a particle of Krishna, and everyone's a particle of Krishna, it's a lot more fun serving the Supreme Whole who's all blissful. Because we're a little blissful. We love ourselves. At least we have some love. We have some love for whoever we think we may be. But if we become aware of Krishna and find out how wonderful He is, we'll love Him more than we love ourselves. Because we're already included within Krishna. Therefore, we'll see Krishna within Krishna ourselves, but we'll see something much more wonderful than even ourselves. And it's much more pleasurable to serve Krishna than to serve anyone. So Krishna and His name are not different. The point is, we're just distracted because we're anxious. We're anxious to get, we think we need so many things in this material world. We're not even aware of how needy we feel. Sometimes we think, I just need a good meal and I'll feel all right. But actually, we feel very needy in the material world. Everyone is identified with its body. They feel completely unprotected. Well, not completely. They feel they need so many things to protect them. They need so many do so many things for their security, for their advancement, for their protection, for their appreciation, whatever. So everyone feels very needy in the material world, and therefore everyone's anxious all the time. So when we hear the holy name, we can't hear it because we're not relaxed enough to hear it. We can't really experience it very well because we're too anxious. We're too anxious to become happy. So the actual thing that will make us happy, we can't experience. Therefore, the process of devotional service is to become aware, first of all, of the fact that we should become a servant of Krishna. And that service to Krishna means we have to work as much as possible in our relationships to make them Krishna conscious. And the closer we are to people, the more it's going to be work to make that relationship Krishna conscious, because we're very much conditioned. If you tell a husband, or you tell the wife that your husband is Krishna's servant, or you tell the wife, the husband, your wife is Krishna's servant, or the children are Krishna's servant, to keep that in mind throughout the day, that I'm actually serving Krishna's servants, is very difficult. It's easier on the street to meet someone for 3.5 minutes and to sell them a book. Well, first of all, because there's nothing else to do with them, generally speaking. There's no other relationship we're going to have with them. And it's easy to tell them how wonderful they are for 3.5 minutes. If you had to live with them, you probably wouldn't feel they were so wonderful. That's why sometimes the devotees, they think when they go out and they do a lot of book distribution, they think, oh, the people are so nice out there. I meet so many nice people. It's just when I come back with the devotees that I get into difficulty. They're difficulties. So many nice people out there. I don't know why the devotees couldn't be nice like they are. But of course, if you moved into their house and had to live with them, then it might be a different story. In any case, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to tell people about Krishna, we especially get empowered if we go out and distribute books, because it's a intense experience where one has to very quickly relate to people in such a way as to encourage them to take a book and give a donation. So that requires a lot of dependency upon Krishna. And that same dependency upon Krishna will have to be there if we make our other relationships Krishna conscious too. So part of that we have to see with proper discrimination. Not that my wife is Krishna's devotee, and therefore she's not really my wife. No, to simultaneously, or my husband's Krishna's devotee, therefore we're going to have a brother-sister relationship now. But to have a relationship with husband and wife, at the same time be Krishna conscious, it requires a lot of spiritual intelligence. To relate to the other devotees requires a lot of spiritual intelligence. Especially if the devotees, because even in the Hare Krishna movement, they have so many conceptions which are basically wrong. That's called neophyte devotee. And we can't expect we're going to have so many Mahabhagavats in the movement. No, we're basically dealing with devotees on different levels of advancement. But we have to relate to them in such a way as that we retain our Krishna consciousness and we help them become more Krishna conscious. So that's an art, it's a science of doing that. And then if we do that with Krishna, we actually try to feel Krishna's presence when we're chanting Hare Krishna and give up our anxiety about so many things that were happening to us in the past and all our anxiety about the future, and just actually become Krishna conscious. Worship not only the deity, but worship the holy name. And then try to make our relations with the devotees in terms of Krishna consciousness. Then it'll be much easier to understand why we're trying to make others into devotees. Then it will be easier to understand why we don't want to waste our time with persons who are trying to withdraw our minds and others away from Krishna. Otherwise it becomes all very mysterious. If we hear sometimes we should read the books, we should worship the deities, we should chant Hare Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said that we have to tell everyone about Krishna. We have to engage people as much as possible in these activities, and then we'll make progress towards becoming Krishna conscious ourselves. So the background is everything and everyone. Everything belongs to Krishna. Everyone belongs to Krishna. And we have to make our lives in such a way as that it becomes a reality. When we read the books, it's very simple. It says, for instance, Yavat Sanjayate Kinchit Sattvam Stavra Jangamam Kshetra Kshetragayam Samyogat Tadviri Bharatarshava. O son of Bharata, whatever you see in existence is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. So life is actually quite simple. There's only the material nature, and there's only the souls within the material nature, the soul, the super soul, and the individual souls, and that's it. And the one who can see the super soul accompanied with the souls within all the different bodies, and who knows that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, he can actually see. One who sees his soul, super soul equal everywhere, does not degrade himself by his mind, and thus approaches the supreme destination. So life is actually quite simple, and it becomes simple if we just accept what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, and we act according to it, so that we stop thinking, well, this is my wife, this is only thinking, this is my wife, this is my husband, this is my cat, this is my dog, this is my friends, this is, my god brothers, or even god sisters. That whole conception that I belong to a certain part of the Hare Krishna movement also can be a kind of Maya, illusion. Actually, if my spiritual master is very elevated, then he'll teach me how to see all the other devotees as Krishna's servants primarily. They may have their identities in different ways, but their first identity is Krishna's servant. That is our natural identity. And being Krishna's servant, we may have different services to Krishna in this world, but my real identity is Krishna's servant. Therefore, we see like that, we act like that, then it becomes then we'll become Krishna conscious. We'll actually be able to understand what the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. Then the chanting Hare Krishna will actually become more effective. Because it won't be part of my life is in the temple when I chant Hare Krishna, or in my home when I chant Hare Krishna. And the other part of my life is just the practical everyday being in Maya. And that's expected because, I'm a neophyte. I was born a neophyte. I was raised a neophyte. And I'll die a neophyte. I'm a born again neophyte. And no one's going to tell me. They may preach to me until, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes back again. But I'm going to stick with my conception because it wouldn't be very much fun to just be so surrendered. Besides that, I'd be the only one so surrendered. They'd have me do all the work. No, we actually have to take up this. We have to try to do it. And then Krishna will actually give us the intelligence how to do it, how to actually be Krishna conscious in our relationships. And then that may require that we have more, openness to Krishna, to let us know, to remind us that everyone is Krishna's servant, and then how to actually serve them, to help them become Krishna conscious. That's another, whole aspect of higher intelligence. Not that higher intelligence is how to make more money, get a better job, a more comfortable bed to sleep in, learn Ayurveda so that I can die healthy. Learn astrology so I can find out how great a person I really am, although no one else thinks like that. No, the whole idea is to become Krishna conscious, to actually get the intelligence, to actually learn to serve others. Because if we actually serve others sincerely, then at least we'll be Krishna conscious. Then wherever we go, we'll actually be in the spirit, on the spiritual platform. And if we don't do that, we may become expert in everything else, and everyone will appreciate us, tell us how wonderful we are, and we think, well, finally people have gotten some intelligence. We may become expert at getting everyone's appreciation, but that won't help our service attitude very much. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Comments?
When we're just starting out and it's hard to focus on Krishna directly all the time, how close is it to focus on Guru? Because that's easier sometimes.
Well, the Krishna and the Guru are not different. I mean, obviously hopefully there's some difference. The Guru doesn't usually stand in the threefold bending form and say, actually, I'm not different. They're not different in the sense that everyone else is non-different also from Krishna. There's nothing but Krishna. But some things will help us remember Krishna more easily. And therefore, in that sense, because Krishna's mission is to remind us about Krishna, therefore, because they help us remind us about Krishna more easily, therefore they become to us more non-different from Krishna. But it's all Krishna's energy. It's all Krishna's souls within this material world. Everything's an expansion of Krishna. And Krishna, ultimately the souls, whether they're doing things to please Krishna or they're doing things to please themselves, but because they're not different from Krishna also, therefore ultimately Krishna is doing everything. Well, one thing is that whatever is going on, whatever energy is being moved, is all being moved by Krishna through his energy. Some souls are trying to do things to please Krishna, therefore they'll help us remember Krishna more easily. And some souls are not aware of Krishna, they're doing things in ignorance, although they're also serving Krishna, but they're doing it in ignorance. And therefore we may not remember Krishna through them so easily. So in the sense that's Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, they help us remember Krishna more easily, and therefore we say they're non-different from Krishna. They're non-different, especially in Krishna's interest. And that way they help us remember Krishna more easily.
So as long as we're remembering them as servants of Krishna, and it's easier with the Guru or somebody, so...
Yeah, you have to see that they're talking about Krishna, they're serving Krishna. Therefore it's easier for us to remember Krishna through them. Someone else on the street, they're talking about, I don't know what's going on in sports, but there's something about sports. I guess the World Series, I don't know when they finish the World Series. I don't even know if anyone's interested in that. Something, that has nothing to do with Krishna. I don't know what's going on in the material world right now. I'm not really so sure. I guess something about Iran or something. They may tell us something about Iran. So, Iran is also belonging to Krishna. If we're Krishna conscious, we'll understand it's also Krishna's arrangements, whatever's going on there. But we're because they're not aware of their relation with Krishna in that particular place, we may forget Krishna and actually think, or like in America when I grew up, the Russians are coming, because they eventually arrived here. But the Russians are coming, and their only aim is to take away our freedom and enslave us under communism. So we thought like that. So we were meditating on the Russians. Some people died who were meditating like that. They took birth in Russia. And became enslaved by communism. So that didn't help us remember Krishna, such association. But we can hear about Prabhupada going to Russia and then preaching to the people there, and that will help us become Krishna conscious, because we're seeing it in relation to Krishna and how Krishna consciousness is spread there. Anything else? Silence. When we ask questions, sometimes it becomes, before everyone was, babies were crying and everything, there was so much noise, but as soon as you ask for a question, you hear everyone think.
Are there questions that are inappropriate?
What was that?
Are there questions that are inappropriate to ask?
Yes, certainly. I guess the next question is, when is Prahlada? Thank you very much. Pranjaya Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prahladananda.